Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week, an episode of Darren and Josh Make a Movie.
Did you notice my hat?
You have all the merch. You have the gut pillows, the merch.
Well, because I'm getting tests done. So yeah,
I want shirts.
we're gonna get shirts.
That's great.
Today, one of our team members did the coolest shirt ever, which I will show right now on the screen. And it's
cool.
freaking awesome. It says Darren and Josh Make a Movie, and it's with all of the
Kills.
yeah. Oh, it's great. It's great.
So you know something cool that I think that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks is really seeing how the community of all of you listening has started to come together. Um,
Yeah.
we've started doing these things called office hours, where if you live in Los Angeles, we'll throw a bar at and say come out between these hours and we're going to be out there. And it's been really cool to get to meet some of the listeners of this and hear their own stories as filmmakers. Um,
And all of them have already helped us so much by just coming up with ideas and thoughts and notes, and it's been
well,
great.
one of the things I'm excited about, I mean, not only carrying on what we're doing here with this podcast, but to continue to throw these kind of events and create really a community. But Josh and I've talked about in the next month we're going to do something called Art of the Kill. Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, Art of the
Yep.
Kill, where we're going to basically do a live event, do a cocktail hour before, and then break down some kills from our movie, how they were shot, problems that we had doing them, and then break down kills from other films and have a effects artist there and kind of go through how we think they were done or how we would approach those kills.
Yeah.
So a lot of events, and we're going to do a Christmas party at some point.
Oh yeah.
Ugly horror sweater, whatever that is. So keep watching and stay involved. We would love to meet you in person. Uh,
And we'll do a town hall also on Zoom just for people outside of LA as well at some point.
uh, So one of this week's episode, and I say this, I think at the beginning of every episode, at this point now, is I encourage you to watch it. Specifically this one, we're going to detour a little bit, and we're not going to further our stories right now. What we're going to do is talk about the idea of pitching, how we pitch, because I think pitching is very personal. It's different. I've been in numerous pitches, and every single time I've been in one, it's been different depending on who I'm with, the producer I'm with, or the writer that I'm with. How has your luck been not specking something, but just going in and pitching it?
It's I've had incredibly good luck. I've probably sold a dozen projects as just pitches. Walking into a room with just an idea.
Sitting this close to you makes me very uncomfortable. I'm
Would you like
sorry.
me to lean a little closer?
No. Okay, sorry, continue.
Um, and but there is definitely an art to it. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. Like if I look at like the difference between my pitching style and Pete's pitching style, completely different, which we'll talk a little bit about as we show some of our material for it. Um, but I mean, there's definitely things you can do to help connect with the listeners.
Well, I mean, I think that for me, what I've noticed is that there's so often that it's gotten worse recently because I think all of us have such little attention spans now due to TikTok and Instagram Reels and all this shit that you can see the glaze washing over people's faces pretty quickly. Um, Sometimes pitches can be 20 minutes. So what I try to do now is just really hit them over the head with visuals and sound to make it fun and interesting right off the bat.
Yep.
Um, and so all the things I'm going to show you this podcast is going to be different tools that I've used to sell or set projects up. And there is not one right way. I've heard so many great stories of people and how they've sold things. Scott Milam and I talked. I know he was on the episode you were on with the writers room, but we sold a project by me bringing in a ghetto blaster. I use the word ghetto blaster because that's what it was. It was a big ass 2 speakers, and I was playing Ice Cube's "Wicked," and I was pitching in the guy's face to the like Ice Cube's, and it was just intense. And the guy, like I was leaning back in his seat, and at the very end, he goes, "What the fuck was that?" And then he picked up the phone and bought it. And
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
so loud and abrasive. And then I've done other ones that's the opposite of that. It's quiet and it's intimate. Um, but we're going to kind of show you a bunch of different practices and things that we have done.
And this is going to be mostly centered on video pitching for this episode.
Yeah.
In a future episode, we're going to do full on like how to do it in a room, how to do it in a Zoom call. But right now, we've each developed a couple of video um, uh, things basically to help out. Scissor reel, sizzle reel, and or pitches. My pitch that I'll be showing today is it's a 20-minute full on from soup to nuts everything that I would send out to producers that and this has never been seen before. So
Yeah, and some of the things that we're going to be showing today, a couple of them are movies that never got made. Two of them are things that it sold and got made. Why don't we head over to let's go head over to the computer and let me show you what we did.
all right, awesome, fantastic.
Cool. Will you give me that coffee?
Will you just go look on the screen and see if you think I'm in focus?
You're enough in focus. You're enough in focus. So I'm going to talk to this camera because this camera might break.
And I'll tell you what the note was. The note was,
You're enough in focus. Hey everyone, it's Darren and Josh Make a Movie. This is take 2. We just recorded an entire episode at my house, and Josh is shaking his head because I told him, "Come on, we're just going to record a couple of bits," but I'm making him record the entire episode again. Josh, this is
I will kill you.
called Darren and Josh Make a Movie.
Kill you.
But we can't make shit, dude. We can't make a simple camera fucking work. Do you want to explain to me how in God's fucking how are we gonna make a movie when we can't make a fucking podcast?
I want you to, you need to find us another FX3. If anyone's out there listening that has one that's just sitting around the garage, we could go an FX3.
I say this numerous times, but you were only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I think
You surrounded yourself with me.
I know. And so we'd have to re-record a podcast. It was really sad. Josh came over. We had literally one of the most dynamic, emotional, like there were tears shed. It was this great podcast. And then Josh sent me the footage and nary a shot was in focus and it was looked pretty bad. Looked pretty bad. I mean, this is the thing. Josh is mad at me because Josh looked at it. He was like, "It's fine. People are gonna love it." And I was like, "Yeah, no, we're re-recording it." Are you angry?
I'm very angry. I'm very angry. I have work to do, and you are dragging me back into this today.
Yeah. Well, let's.
On Monday,
I know. And the
comes out
podcast comes
tomorrow.
out tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow, so we have to quickly send this to our team to edit, and it'll be great. But you know what? Let's make this dynamic here. Let's go in speaker mode. Oh, look at that, Josh. So now whoever's talking, they're full screen. But why are you full screen and I'm talking?
I'll go to speaker mode too. Is that?
No.
I have no idea.
No, now I'm upset. Now I'm going back to the way it was because this is upsetting to me. So Josh, let's stop wasting time. You've already wasted enough of my time making me re-record this podcast. But I will say that one time I did go on the movie crypt, and about an hour and 10 minutes in, I see Joe Lynch looking at Adam, and he was like doing this kind of thing, and I was like, "Ooh, is it bad or something?" And then they were scared to tell me that they had not recorded the entire first hour of whatever the podcast. So I had to do it again. But Josh, let's just jump into it since we're going to be rehashing everything that we've already talked about less than a few hours ago. Uh, we're deciding to not bring a guest in this week and instead do a little bit of education to those out there regarding how we're going to go about this pitch session. We're going to be pitching the Killer Khan movie. Uh, First off, if you're listening right now and you are listening to us speak, can you please do us a favor in the comments right now? Push pause on us and go in the comments and think of a better name than Killer Khan because it makes me sad every time I say it. There's surely a better name out there than Killer Khan.
I'm assuming there is as well, but our good friend Greg Green on our team loves Killer Khan. He loves that name.
I'm not a fan, but I regress. Okay, so Josh, what I would like to do is just talk. How do you work when you go into a room and pitch? Because I know that you've prepared some things, I've prepared some things to kind of go over and talk about. What I do because I think every filmmaker is different. There's a million ways to go in and pitch. What's your method when you go into a room?
I typically have everything memorized out so that it can come off the top of my head and sound like it's really solid. As you know, and people who have been listening to the podcast know, I do a lot of umming and a lot of and spacing words. And I like to walk into a room with the executives feeling very, very confident about every single line, every single word that I'm saying. As a matter of fact, if you looked at some of my pitch documents when I'm going into a room, it'll even say on there, it'll be like, if I'm pitching with a partner, like if I'm pitching with Pete, I'll even say, "Oh, and what was that, Pete? What was that idea?" And it's actually written into the document, me saying, "And hey, what was that, Pete? What was that idea?" And it allows me to relax and not feel like I'm gonna bomb. That said, today I think we're going to be focused very heavily on video pitching and different ways to go about that.
Yeah, so, I think I've been in rooms where I've sold every kind of different thing from, going out and actually shooting footage, that is unique to the project, as well as, documents that are highly, curated using images to, hype reels that are basically me using footage that I've ripped off other things. So what I think would be kinda cool to do right now is for us to go through every type of one that we have, quickly look at it, and then discuss how we wanna move forward with the killer con idea and how we go into a room. Uh, some of these, Josh, I'm excited, to show you. Yeah, and guys, by the way, I'm pretending like this is the Josh's first time. He's already gone through this entire goddamn thing with me once. But Josh, pretend like it's the first time I'm showing it to you.
I'm so excited to see what could possibly be in store for me.
You know what's cool? Not only, remember we're reading this entire podcast because it was out of focus. Am I out of focus now? I think
No, no, you're in focus. Your background's out of focus on purpose, I
I
think.
did that on purpose. It's a little
Yeah,
dark.
yeah, no, no, you look good.
Thanks, man. So the first one I'm going to show you was the first script that I sold after Saw 2. This was kind of a cool story. I had this idea. One of my favorite subgenres of movie making is the paranoid conspiracy thriller. I think I've talked about it before, but like I love Parallax View, or more recently, like movies like The Firm or The Game. I love those type of movies, and so I had this idea about how to commit the perfect murder,
Mhm.
and I wanted to use. Well, you know what? I'm going to pause. I'm going to show you what I made, and then I'm going to show you how I was able to sell it based on this. And what it was I would go into a room and I would talk about this idea, which I'll talk about in a second, and people would kind of look at me blankly. And the first question is, I don't get it. And the second one was, is that real? Is that even a real thing?
Right.
So I wanted to be able to kind of circumvent that by going into a room, setting it up, and then being able to talk about it. So what I'm going to do, Josh, really quickly is I'm just going to share the screen for a second, show you what this thing is, then we'll kind of talk about what it is. So let's go to here. Boom, boom.
It's about being spontaneous. It's about throwing yourself into something, not working long hours every night at the office.
What is this?
I don't know. Excuse me, Constable, what is going on? Oh, it's a flash mob! It's a flash mob! Oh, we saw it on YouTube. Remember? People get together and choreograph big dance numbers.
We should go. This is kind of weird.
No, this is joyful. Mitchell, you of all people should...
I'm the janitor, the working man you all ignore.
So that is about flash mobs.
I freaking love it. I love it even more the second time.
Thank you. It does get better the more you watch it. But the idea is that at the time when I sold this idea, it was in 2008, 2009, and flash mobs were popping up everywhere. And I thought of the reason it's called the bystander effect was the Kitty Gervais story that if there's a group of people congregated and there is someone that is in need of help, most people don't do anything because they think someone else has already done something. So there's the story of the woman who was being attacked and everyone heard it happening, but no one called because they figured someone else was calling. So I was like, what if you took that idea and you put it through a murder where they used flash mobs where all of these people had one mundane action that they had to do, but all of those people together in a cumulative effect would cause a murder. So one person might knock a trash can over, another person might have to fall in the trash can, someone else would have to do this, this, this. But by the very end, a murder took place, but no one felt guilty because they all just did some mundane action. And it was, putting that together, that got the pitch to sell. And then we were hired to, myself and a writing partner, Clint Sears, and I were hired to write the script. And they then bought the script after that. So it was a really cool thing. And it was all based on that just 90-second, 2-minute little sizzle.
And did you go, so you went into the room and during the pitch, right before the pitch said, I need you to watch this first?
Well,
and
the
show
first
the
thing was I did that after was trying to pitch some people and they didn't understand it. They're like, "What do you mean flash mobs?" Then that got me in the room to do the actual pitch. So
yeah.
that then got me in the room, and then when I got in the room, there was a basis of understanding, and then they bought the idea in the room when they heard the further kind of idea behind it. But what's cool about that is that thing I just showed you was all just ripped off of YouTube and After Effects. So we just made some graphics, we did YouTube, and that was it. And it cost almost next to nothing to do.
I love it. And also throwing in the family, what's it called? The Modern Family part shows how big of an influence flash mob had. So even if they don't know the phrase flash mob, by seeing that, they're going to understand that it's everywhere. So that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. And that was the main reason that we put that on there is it immediately shows the size and scope, and it's not some small kind of mundane idea. What I want to move on to is kind of the next evolution of this, which is something that I set up many years ago at Blumhouse. The thing never got made. But it started with I'm a huge conspiracy theorist, and I love conspiracy. I was really into MK Ultra at the time, and I'm sure most people have probably heard the term MK Ultra, but it went a little further than just that. And I had this idea, but you had to understand MK Ultra to understand the script. So again, instead of me sitting in a room with Jason Blum being like, "Let me explain MK Ultra to you," I wanted to put together kind of a visual to kind of set the mood. And I'm going to show that to you, but there's a follow-up to this, which is the second part in my mind to what makes a good pitch. So
Awesome.
let me share my screen really quick and show you this.
About quote-unquote Manchurian candidates.
It's CIA experimentation, and through torture, you can basically create a second personality, basically a sleeper soldier.
And are we speaking here of MK Ultra?
The government is programming killers?
It's worse than you imagine.
And it's a culture of MK Ultra mind control rules in Hollywood.
Another former CIA agent says that Fidel Castro at one time was considered as a possible target for a Manchurian candidate.
Republican leaders warned the Obama administration is using mind control to manipulate all of us.
Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation.
experimentation on prisoners, experimentation on soldiers, experimentation on college students.
It would allow the government to use mind control to manipulate everything we do.
Some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted.
That voice may not be yours at all. It could be the government controlling your mind.
So Josh, the second time watching that, was it as exciting for you?
It really was. No, but what I also love is that both of those pieces just feel like they're an affront to the senses in a lot of ways. And really make you kind of lean in and be like, what the fuck is this all about? What's happening here?
I was in an argument today with producers of this new film that I'm doing about going out with the script. So remember the script, Josh, I've talked to you about it off air, which is that very violent, which I consider to be probably the most vicious script I've ever read.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard sell because it is so vile and intense. And I said to the producers that when we go out with this, let's go out in a unique way. Let's just not send the PDF out, but let's print the script off and put it in black covers and add wax seals and put it in a box and do this whole presentation around it.
Yeah.
Because I think that so many people get lost in the thousands of exact copies of other things that are going. So a producer might get 50 scripts a week and they're all sent as a PDF with a cover letter. How do you set yourself different? How do you set yourself apart? And so for me, I would call that mood, maybe like a mood sizzle, is it immediately in 90 seconds shows you the kind of mood I'm going for and tone I'm going for. And I always like to do that before I go out with a project is here is something, the mood and tone and style. So that actually, though, had a second part to it. The whole world is set in conspiracy and government, black ops, special access programs. So I wanted to continue to kind of lean into that.
Right.
So I did a second part to that, and this was really cool. I'm kind of excited by this. Let me show you this. So this is what went with that video.
Okay.
This is Jason Blum, and it looks like an old kind of, a secret document, classified document.
Yeah.
With redacted. So that is the treatment of the movie, but done with redactions and things like that. And I think it's a cool thing because when we delivered this, I've told this story in the past. One of my first jobs that I ever got in Hollywood, it was Mario Casar, and how I got the job was I sent my resume in a refrigerator box, and I had a singing telegram arrive, and inside the refrigerator box was like peanuts and glitter and shit but all that was in it was my resume. And so it made an impact. It shows up at Carolco Pictures or Synergy at the time, and there's a singing telegram, and everyone's like, what the fuck is this? And it made me front and center of this guy's mind because he was like, he took the extra effort.
Yeah.
So when we delivered this to Blumhouse, I had a guy in a suit that looked like a government, like almost Men in Black type person that arrived with this folder. He had an attaché case. He asked to see Jason Blum. I don't think Blum was available, and they had to do it to his receptionist. And he opened it up. He pulled out a redacted document, made her sign for it, looked at her, it was this whole weird thing.
Yeah.
And it cost me a couple $100 to do that, but it was worth it because it made an impression. It was not just me sending him an email. It was, he had a USB drive that had that video on it, and he had this document that was all redacted. And we put it on special paper too. It's one of the things I really do is that when I'm doing something that I find important for a pitch or anything like that, I go out of my way to put it on unique paper. So like in my office, I have different types of paper. Like this one, it might be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard to see here, but it's like torn around the edges. It's very
Yeah.
This was done on very thin paper, the kind the government uses for these type of things. So we did that, and then I also, you can't really tell because it's out of focus, but I have typewriters. I use a lot of typewriters in things that I do with overstriking, double strikes, things like that, which manual labor, when someone gets a typewritten letter with a wax seal, there's just something more.
Yeah.
I know it's more memorable to me. So I think that I always want to make an impression when I go into a room or I'm going into a pitch, then I'm going to take that extra effort with it. Because listen, why are they hiring me? I'm a director. I'm here to be creative. So this was my thing about, being creative.
I love that. Did Jason ever say anything about it afterward, or did you just get the phone call from the lawyers?
No, so Jason moved forward on the pitch. We wrote the full script after that. This is a story for another time, and I think you and I should talk about just failures of movies that didn't get made.
Yeah.
There was a reason the movie never went forward, never got made because of me. There was a note that I just could not wrap my head around, and it was a singular note that I'll say right now is that in mine it's all plausible and based in real government things. They wanted a supernatural twist to it, and I was very I drew a line and I was like, this is not supernatural, this is real. And it stalled the project out. So I was being a hard ass, and in retrospect I kind of regret it, but I was very adamant that it had to be realistic and not be a supernatural element.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's a really cool way of getting people excited for a project. I love that. Yeah.
So as I've gotten, as I started to make more movies and I've started to do more things, I had the ability to sometimes actually go out and film stuff for the pitch. The next one I'm going to show you, which I think is really cool, is this idea for Abattoir. Abattoir kind of gets a bum rap, but I really like the film. It's not one that I shit on. I shit on some of my movies, but I like it because it was an amazing script written by this writer, Chris Monfett, based on an original idea that I had. And the idea was I wanted to make a movie about this guy who was building a haunted house, and he was ripping rooms out of different places where tragedies had taken place, where killings had taken place, and he was ripping them out and building a place in the forest of these different rooms. And I just love that idea. I was able to go into this company, Radical Studios, and kind of pitch the idea out, and they agreed to make a 6-issue comic book series. I'll come up on screen right now. In this 6-episode or 6-issue thing, the idea originally was that we were going to do it, and that was going to get an investor to come in and finance the movie and say, we got it, we understand what this is, but that didn't work. The comic book had mild success, but I don't think it was anything like we were thinking.
Right.
So after the 6 episodes came out of the 6 issues, I asked the company, the comic book company, why don't we go shoot something? Well, let's just go shoot something and show them what it is using the actor that I wanted. So we went off, and in about 6 hours, we shot what I'm going to show you. And it is featuring the real actor, Dayton Cali. Dayton Cali has been in a bunch of my movies, including Abattoir. He was the actual guy that we used in it. And we went and shot this. And this was a proof of concept idea. We partnered with a visual effect company called Hydraulics. And I think the result's really cool. And with this, we were able to secure the financing for it. Now, this is a different approach than the other two because this costs money. The first two, I think you can kind of do,
found footage kind of stuff from online. Yeah.
Right. So, Josh, let's take a look. I'm going to pull up the next one, and here we go. So, Josh, how'd you feel about your second viewing of the trailer?
I loved it even more. That thing looks so badass. It looks so well done, so professional, so slick. It feels
Keep going, keep going.
no, but it gives me a feeling of calm that I'm like, oh, this person knows what the fuck they're doing and how to do it.
Well,
Right.
that's exactly what why I wanted to show that is I think that here I was able to show who Jebediah Crone was, set up this world, the characters, the old, like I wanted there to be this old town, set up the old people, show how visual effects were going to be a big part of it. So, this, you see a lot of filmmakers doing this now, which is actually going off and filming something specifically for the meeting. So this was only shot to go out. Maybe it's available on YouTube. I don't think so. I think that, but this was only done for the investors to look at it, and
Yeah.
it worked.
Amazing. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
Do you know something, Josh, that you have not seen? I'm gonna make this a little more fresh here.
Ooh,
Very
exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna add something new here.
All right.
I wanted to make Repo the Genetic Opera. And every single person associated with my life, including my agents, my managers, I didn't have a lot of support. And I said I wanted to make this movie, and no one got it. No one grasped it. And I went to Mark Berg and I said, Mark Berg, this is the movie I want to make. And Mark was like, yeah, no, I don't understand what that is. A musical? Is it like Oklahoma? And I'm like, no, it's not like Oklahoma. So I went off and I shot a trailer for it. And I actually didn't even shoot a trailer. I shot a presentation.
Okay.
I spent a lot of money on this, and I went off and did it right after Saw 3.
Right.
I'm going to play a few minutes of it, and there is a familiar face you're going to see in it.
Excellent.
A couple of familiar faces in it. So, and then I held a screening for executives all over town, and we did it at William Morris Endeavor. It was Endeavor at the time, and we rented the theater out, and we had wine and champagne and food, and we had characters dressed up, and I made it a moment, and it was Saw 3, so it was like Darren's new movie. We're only going to show this once, and whoever wants it can buy it in the room. And next afternoon, Mark and Lionsgate came to me and said they would make it after they saw it. So look at this. It's kind of cool. Yeah, so you get the idea on that. That was again, that was much different because that was actually me shooting a large chunk. I think it was 12 minutes in total.
Wow. How many days? How many days did you shoot for?
No, 2 days. We did it over 2 days. It was
Okay.
Saw crew. I mean, Johnny Smith was obviously there for Saw. Michael Rooker was in town shooting something, so I had Michael Rooker in it. And I was able to, with that, get a company that did not understand it to buy it right then.
That's that's amazing. And it's also cool because you've shown us a lot of different kinds of ways in, from sizzle reel to spec trailer to full on scenes. Everything from giving the person a vibe to giving them exactly what they're going to see in the film.
One last one, Josh, that I'm gonna show you is this one is much different, and this was me trying to sell the LaLaurie Mansion project, which I'm no longer attached to, which was the movie that I was going to shoot in New Orleans with the Hayes brothers, who were known for the Conjuring universe. And I was able to spend 4 nights in the LaLaurie Mansion, which is obviously said many people it's the most haunted place in North America. So I thought, what if we shot like a mini documentary? And it's much more, I don't want to say adult, but it's a more professional look. Because a lot of these I'm showing you are bombastic. They're just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
This to me was more selling the idea of a franchise to a studio. The other ones were me looking for money, very small amounts. This was us looking for a lot of money from a studio. So I wanted to show them the universe as a whole. So I'm going to put up a few minutes of this. You'll get the idea, but it's more of like a documentary, not selling the story as much as it was selling the IP. So let's take a look at that.
This is a house with an incredibly dark history. One of the darkest tales ever told about a house. But this is not just one story. This house has many. And it seems like with every passing year, there is a new story to be told. This house was built in the 1830s by a rich socialite named Madame Delphine de Noure. Everyone loved her. She threw the biggest parties. She was a success. But she also had a dark side that no one knew about. She built this house with hidden passageways and secret chambers. Inside these rooms, she tortured and murdered over 200 innocent people. These were enslaved victims. Madame de Noure was evil incarnate, and did some of the most terrible things imagined inside these secret hideaways. These rooms are still here today.
Hey everyone, my name is Darren and Bousman and I'm a filmmaker. Most people will know me from my work with the Saw franchise, most notably Spiral, which was just released. I'm recording this interview in what is known as North America's most haunted house. I actually recorded this entire interview yesterday, but as I walked in this room, which is often thought to be the most haunted room in the LaLaurie mansion, something happened, something that is hard for me to even explain to you now. I sat in this chair and I felt a weight come over me. Almost like I was unable to speak, unable to talk. It wasn't until I left this room that I felt normal again. And what's been interesting over the last 2 to 3 days is I've been able to talk to numerous people that have lived here, numerous residents and guests. We all share a similar story. And that is when you walk through the doors of the LaLaurie mansion, something is off. Something is not quite right. As a filmmaker, this is a story that I have to tell.
I won't stay here at night. I will not come in here at night. I believe that there's too many things have happened to me that I can't explain.
There was this guttural, low, gurgling kind of groan.
All of a sudden, I heard a loud growl, like something from... I had never heard nothing like this in my life. That's about the third time I heard something really real.
We heard a growl last night.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. And
hey there, Chad and Carrie Hayes, writers of The Conjuring, 1 and 2. I'm speaking to you from an amazing room in the LaLaurie Mansion here in New Orleans, which is the concept of our next movie. My brother and I are always in look of true stories that can be documented. You can go online, Google it, you can do whatever.
But also chasing that heart and soul that we had in The Conjuring and trying to find out where that's going to come from. And actually when we got the call from Faster Horse saying, are you familiar with the LaLaurie house in New Orleans? We were like, yeah, absolutely. We've been on the haunted ghost tour many times and walked on the outside of this house, never been inside.
And then when I rolled this way, standing right here, is this full-on ghost man.
I mean, it was like, I caught it already moving, but there would have been, it was a very tall, slender, just kind of shadowy figure.
That chandelier in the foyer right there started spinning.
When we first came down here, the very first time, they claimed that the store would just completely open on its own. They've had the locks changed 3 times.
And she goes, oh my God, you're describing my husband who died in the house.
It was years before I really realized what a mystery this house has.
Coming down here the first time, we expected to do the story of Madame LaLaurie, you know, in that time period and what had happened. And after doing the research, found out there's so many different time eras and so many different horrific stories that it isn't hers alone. Mm-hmm. You know, we're able to tap into it and it's all valid.
Yeah, I love it. It feels immersive. It feels like we have we're getting like almost like a behind the scenes look at what you're planning on doing, which is a lot of fun. And that was for a full 4 days. You were just shooting B-roll.
Yeah, there for 4 days. That's a whole other story again with crazy supernatural shit happening all over. We're not, I mean, what you see in that, and again, I'm only going to show a few minutes of it here, but we get into some of the haunting stuff that happened to us. But you know something funny about this? pause here for 1 second. That used to be owned by Nicolas Cage. And look at one of our listeners, Dave.
Marco.
And you know what, Josh? This is about his time at the LaLaurie Mansion.
That's awesome. Yeah. One of the folks that are part of our family, and have been following along, sent us their original book. And it's very, very, very exciting. That's very cool. Love it.
So, Josh, you've seen kind of I don't know, both sides of the spectrum of what I do. So
A wide range. Yeah.
I want to know what you do when you're going into these things.
So yeah, I'm gonna show, instead of, I had done those kinds of sizzle reels before when I was pitching. I went out and pitched a space version of Cabin Fever with Eli for a television series. And they created one of these sizzle reels of making it look like it's in space and Cabin Fever in space. It was a 60-second just wham bam, get the audience excited. So I have done those before, but today I want to show something a little different. This is a full soup to nuts pitch for a television series. I will say that, when you're pitching, or when I'm pitching, there is a difference between pitching TV and pitching a feature. For a feature, you tend to stay more on point with the plot itself and kind of take the audience through from beginning to end. For a TV pitch, sometimes things get kind of moved around a little bit. You spend a little more time on characters, because those are people that are going to be you're going to be following for seasons and seasons and seasons, hopefully. And you spend a little bit less time on the actual story for the pilot itself. What I'm going to be showing today was for a television series, for a show that called Chronicle. And it's never been seen before. This was something that I made at the start of COVID. It was right after we made Spiral together and before I got all involved in Saw X. And when Saw X started up, I lost the time to be able to work on this. And there was one note that I was given for the pitch that I still have not taken yet. So before it was planned to go out wide, I wanted to address the one note. And the one note was, and I'll let you know what it is, just so while you're watching, you can think about it. One of my very, very, very good friends, a guy named Tom Speziali, who has been a mentor for me for my entire career. My very first PA job was on a TV show that he was a producer on. And he watched this, and his one note was that he thought that I'm showcasing 2 male leads and I should make one of them female. So I had decided, yes, that's something I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the editor of the Chronicle newspaper in San Francisco to a female. Haven't done it yet. And I was just thinking, I wanted to show something that was still fresh in my mind, still something that I'm pursuing, still something I'm very, very excited about. But no one has seen yet. So this is it. It's called Chronicle. And you can go ahead and press play on that one there, buddy. Pete Goldfinger and I became friends at college when we were both in the theater department. We were not popular kids, clearly, but this forged a friendship that has lasted 3 decades. Together we wrote Piranha 3D, Sorority Row, Jigsaw, and the soon-to-be-released Chris Rock and Sam Jackson Saw spin-off, Spiral.
You want to play games, motherfucker?
Now, we love true crime, and TV is telling us that we're not the only ones. Making a Murderer, The Jinx, Don't Fuck with Cats, and who's been able to avoid going down the rabbit hole of The Tiger King? Every last one, cultural obsessions. And those titles just scratch the surface of all of the binge-worthy true crime television out there right now. And that's not even counting all of the incredible and award-winning movies based on true crime. I mean, we all love a good murder mystery. Now, while notorious serial killers like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, and Charles Manson fascinate us,
The ones that really get us are the unsolved cases. Jack the Ripper, the Black Dahlia. When we follow these cases, we get to play armchair detective, trying to solve the crimes ourselves. And the most intriguing case for us by far is the Zodiac Killer, who terrorized San Francisco 45 years ago and left notes like this and cryptograms like this, all signed with his infamous crosshair symbol. The Zodiac Killer had 7 confirmed victims, mostly teenagers, but he claimed to be responsible for as many as 37 deaths. And despite the fact that over 2,500 suspects were explored, the Zodiac was never caught, never identified. The identity of the killer is as much a cipher as the puzzles that he sent to the newspaper, taunting the city and the world to try to guess his identity. The San Francisco Police Department actually reopened the case in 2007, and it's still an active investigation. Experts claim that the Zodiac was in his 20s during his killing spree, which would make him the same age now as Tommy Lee Jones or James Woods, Jeff Bridges or Richard Gere. He could be walking the streets of San Francisco right now. Our show begins by asking the question, what would happen if the Zodiac Killer reappeared and started killing again? Our pilot opens at a spot known as Land's End, a state park at the mouth of the Golden Gate Bridge. The camera cranes over the rocky shoreline and up to a makeout spot known as the Labyrinth. It's late. Romantic candle lights flicker in the breeze as 2 college students, drunk on love, weave through the maze. When they reach the center, they start making out, clothes getting thrown off. As they kiss, slowly, a shadow falls over them. The couple looks up to see a gun with a silencer pointed at their faces. 2 shots to the head, and their bodies go still. The killer unloads the rest of the bullets into the corpses. Then a gloved hand bends down. We think to pick up spent shells, but instead, the hand pinches out the light on one of the candles, and we cut to black. We fade up on stars struggling to twinkle through the foggy San Francisco night sky. We find an older couple walking down the path toward the labyrinth. When they get closer, they see 2 dead bodies slumped in the middle of the maze, blood coloring the dirt at its center like a gory bullseye. Off the woman's scream, we crane up high, up over the scene to reveal that many of the candles have been extinguished, and from above, we can see the symbol that they have created in the darkness, the crosshairs of the Zodiac Killer. We cut to cops swarming the scene in the early morning light, taking sneaker prints from the ground, collecting evidence. A coroner bags the bodies of the victims. On the hill, in a crowd of onlookers, we see another one of our supporting players, a photographer for the San Francisco Chronicle. He's trying to get a clear shot of the mayhem for the paper. He calls into his office, which brings us to the busy bullpen of San Francisco's most storied newspaper. At one point, the Chronicle had the largest circulation on the West Coast. On the phone, the photographer asks for his boss, but he's told the editor isn't there, which allows us to cut to the publisher and editor-in-chief, Keith Dorian, early 40s, who's having a hard time saying goodbye to his little girl, Gail, 18. Gail and her friend Callie are packing up the car to drive cross-country to college on the East Coast. Keith tears up and says how proud he is, and how proud Gail's mother would have been to see her going off to school. Gail jokes about being concerned about how her father is going to get by without her, and we get to play a fun reversal with the daughter telling the parent to remember to eat well and don't forget to floss. Finally, they hug goodbye, and she's off. Keith makes it back to the office, his assistant opening a large stack of mail on her desk, and the editor finds the photographer already inside his office with shots of the crime scene. Unfortunately for the paper, camera phone images have already gone viral online. By the time they publish the story, there won't be a person in the state who hasn't seen the grisly crime scene images. If this is going to sell papers, they need an exclusive to find a way into the case. And that's when they hear a gasp outside the office door. A moment later, Keith's assistant bursts into the office and places a note on the desk in front of Keith. In creepy block writing, it reads, This is the Zodiac. Lock your doors, hide your children. I'm back. And with it, a piece of bloody clothing from the crime scene. Off Keith's stunned look, we cut to title, Chronicle. As we've said, we love murder mysteries. But the trick is to find a unique way in to tell the story. And with Chronicle, we've found it. Our show will chronicle a new present-day search for the real Zodiac killer. Our story will be told from two perspectives. First, the cops investigating the crime. And you'll see using the Zodiac provides a unique way in to tell our story because the Zodiac taunted the police, continuously threatened to kill all of the, in his words, pigs of the world. They never caught him. It's one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time. Second, we'll be looking at the case from the perspective of the newsroom that has been drawn into the investigation. Again, the Zodiac killer is a perfect fit because he's a criminal who used the media to amplify his terror. From a storytelling standpoint, we'll organically have the police and the newspaper and all of the loathing that occurs between them having to work together. Our show Chronicle is true crime, but with a twist. Unlike your typical police procedural where it's all fairy dust and make-believe, we're going to be able to reopen this famous case. But it's not a period piece. It's all new, and we'll get to use real evidence from the case, giving our show a layer of authenticity that will make it come alive. Our characters. Our show is anchored by Keith Dorian, late 30s, think Michael Fassbender, the editor-in-chief of the Chronicle. Keith's wife died of breast cancer 4 years ago, just as his daughter Gail was entering high school, and he struggled to alter his own DNA to shift from hard-drinking workaholic to loving, caring father. And now, just as he's gotten the hang of it, his baby girl is off to college. Keith is respected by pretty much everybody, save one person, Detective Martin Thaler, 40s. Think Russell Crowe in LA Confidential. This guy is one of the more polarizing figures on the police force. I mean, sure, he's solved some of the biggest murder cases in San Francisco, but he's also been under investigation for corruption, police brutality, embezzlement, murder. Editor-in-chief Keith Dorian, like a pit bull with a poodle's neck in its mouth, has been out to take down this crooked cop. But this relationship gets complicated, as you'll see when we get into our pilot. Thaler is dirty as fuck, and we don't want to sugarcoat just how bad he can be. Next up is Thaler's protege, Detective Chelsea Lasias, 30, gay, think Paula Patton. Chelsea is one of the younger detectives in the San Francisco Police Department's Major Crimes Division. She's been assigned to partner with Thaler, getting thrown into the deep end right away as a detective, setting up a bit of a Denzel Washington-Ethan Hawke relationship between her and Thaler. Chelsea has usually had to play down her good looks to be taken seriously, which has made her have to act tougher than she actually is. An arc that will get to play out over the course of several seasons as she eventually becomes one of the department's fiercest cops, and even starts to take up arms against Thaler when he goes too far. Next up is Brendan Cho, early 20s, think Aaron Yu, Michelangelo with a digital camera. Brendan is cocky, but he has the talent to back it up. He works freelance at the Chronicle and hovers around the office waiting for an assignment. He'd probably have been hired full-time by Dorian if he hadn't have spent a few months sleeping with the editor's daughter. Gail started a summer fling with Brendan just before she went off to college. Speaking of, we have Gail Dorian, think Elle Fanning. Despite her heading off to college in our cold open, you'll see how she plays a very important role in our series. Independent and plucky, Gail is Keith Dorian's pride, his life, partly because she is such a carbon copy of her mother. Also at the Chronicle is Dorian's assistant, Angie Harris, mid-40s, think Toni Collette, fiercely protective of Dorian. She's been on her boss's desk through it all, ups and downs, the death of his wife. She's the person who really pushes him to make the right choices. There's been some chemistry between them forever, but they both know that if something happened between them, it would only ruin the special relationship that they have. Last up is Nicoya Eaton, early 20s. Think Kiersey Clemens. Head of the digital division, Nicoya is one of the Chronicle's most valuable employees. Keith hired her out of juvie when she turned 16, and after the paper had run an article about how she hacked into all of the digital road signs with messages like this, and this, and this. In many ways, Nicoya will act as our Robert Graysmith character, Jake Gyllenhaal in the Fincher film, who as a cartoonist for the paper became obsessed with tracking down the Zodiac. Only Nicoya does it with computer algorithms written to break the killer's ciphers and hacking into the surveillance feeds to track him down. She lives on Monster Energy drink and will eventually start a relationship with Chelsea in a future season. So those are the important characters to know. Let's talk about our pilot.
Hey, Pete here. Thought you might want to take a quick break from listening to Josh's annoying voice. Before we get back to it, I want to share a couple of interesting tidbits about the Zodiac Killer that you may not know. First, did you know that the Zodiac sent some of his letters and cryptograms a full 10 years after he committed his last murder? It's true. Second, did you know that several films have used the Zodiac Killer as a jumping off point? Dirty Harry's nemesis, Scorpio, modeled after the Zodiac. So was the Gemini Killer in Exorcist 3, and Steve McQueen's character in the movie Bullet was based on Dave Toschi, who investigated the Zodiac killings. Finally, and this is just my opinion, I do believe that the actual Zodiac Killer was Ted Cruz. And I'm going to tell you why. When Ted Cruz first ran for... Hello?
No, Pete, no. Ugh. I'm sorry about that, guys. Our pilot. After our opening with the murder of 2 teenagers at Land's End and the letter from someone claiming to be the Zodiac, back to kill after 45 years of silence, our 2 worlds collide as Detective Thaler and his new partner Chelsea show up at the Chronicle to follow the lead on the Zodiac note. Sparks fly as Thaler and Editor-in-Chief Keith Dorian go toe-to-toe. No love lost between these two, as Thaler accuses Dorian of heading up a witch hunt to bring him down. Hell, he even sees the evidence in the spotlight room right behind him. But Dorian fires back, calling Thaler a crooked cop and a murderer. Thaler would beat the crap out of Dorian, if not for Brendan standing nearby armed with his camera. Instead, the detective takes the Zodiac letter into evidence and warns the paper against printing it. Dorian argues, citing freedom of the press, the First Amendment, but Thaler touches his gun, reminding the editor, not so subtly, about the Second Amendment. That's when word comes over the wire to both Thaler and the newsroom simultaneously that body parts have been found in a dumpster, perhaps another victim of the Land's End killer. We'll be building out a B story as they find 2 severed hands in that dumpster. Fingerprints are taken, but before they find a match, a call comes into the tip line that says the killings are not tied to the Land's End murders. How does the informant know? He won't say. But when they track down the fingerprints, the owner of the hands is already on the Chronicle's evidence board. It's someone connected to Thaler, to the crooked cop investigation. Dorian is, of course, suspicious. Maybe Thaler was the one who cut off this guy's hands to begin with. Meanwhile, on the Land's End case, Thaler and Chelsea meet with a handwriting expert who analyzes the writing on this new note against the original Zodiac letter. And it's a match, something that Nicoya had already theorized, having run the letters through a computer program she designed, a program she originally created in high school to forge her parents' signature on bad report cards. Then comes a second letter from the Zodiac, but this one is a cipher. It comes with a threat promising a killing spree in the city, the likes of which has never been seen before. Now, just to be clear, the real Zodiac letters are crazy. Like, look at this one. He says, "Killing is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all I've killed will become my slaves." So yes, crazy. But things really blow up when young Gail's car is found on the outskirts of town, and her best friend in the car, Callie, dead. Dorian's daughter is missing. which means shit just got real personal for Dorian and the entire Chronicle staff. And this abduction will play an important part in our first season. Remember that cipher that came in? When it's decoded by Nicoya, they discover that the Zodiac indeed has Dorian's daughter. Thaler, who's lead investigator in the Land's End murders, is charged with getting Gale back. So, the girl's kidnapping sets up an unholy alliance between Detective Thaler and Editor-in-Chief Keith Dorian, two enemies who must work together. As we close in on the end of the pilot, another anonymous call comes into the station on a tip line. The person calls the Chronicle to say that the Land's End killings are not the work of the Zodiac. And how does he know this?
I am the Zodiac Killer.
And we cue music sting, and we're out. So, our series. The hook of the show will be the search and capture of the Zodiac Killer. Long term, over the course of our series, our characters will be trying to discover his identity and bring him down for the murders he committed in the past. But week to week, this Zodiac character will act as our anti-hero, helping to solve both new cases and also some cold cases from the past 45 years since the Zodiac went dark. In the past, the Zodiac has enjoyed toying with the San Francisco Police Department, evading their capture, all the while claiming dozens of victims. Now his excitement comes from demonstrating his superiority at catching the killers, and he's had 45 years to make his cases. Imagine him as the cigarette man from the X-Files. We'll never see his face, but there will be times when we see him in the shadows, and we'll learn about who he's become since the killings. It's complicated. He's complicated. He doesn't like his name being pirated by a hack. Over the course of the first season, we'll also have our kidnapping subplot. Although Gale is our damsel in distress, we'll find that she's anything but helpless, and will turn out to be trouble for the Zodiac copycat, who is holding her for leverage over Keith. Now, when the real Zodiac originally had his run, he only had threats of public executions to get the newspaper to publish what he wanted, as with this letter. Back then, sometimes the paper didn't fully comply, but with Gale in the killer's clutches, Dorian is at this madman's mercy. But the fact that he even takes a kidnapping victim is the first clue that he is not the real Zodiac, because the real Zodiac always killed his victims in secluded locations. At the end of season 1, Thaler will discover the real Zodiac's identity when he helps save Gale. But in a twist, Thaler will keep that secret hidden because he sees the good the Zodiac is doing in helping to clear the streets of murderers and scum. These two are two sides of the same coin. Where we want to land at the end of season 1 is that a very small percentage of the people of San Francisco become fans of the Zodiac Killer. Social media starts going nuts about the victims. Pretty white girl gets killed. More, please. And when it's a poor person, one less person sucking off the government's tit. Thanks, Zodiac Killer. What the fuck is wrong with these people, you ask? Yeah, us too. Welcome to America. Lastly, we do have a landing place for the Zodiac Killer. We never know his identity, but somewhere near the end of the series, he's going to get killed in a manner that makes it impossible to ID the body. Tonally, our show exists in a style somewhere between Fincher's own Zodiac movie and a procedural, but from the San Francisco Chronicle's point of view. It'll have a moody vibe, but not as dark as some other serial killer shows on TV. It's going to be more Dexter than The Following. This show has everything that we love in storytelling. With the Zodiac hook and the spotlight-like characters from the newspaper, this is going to be an exciting and unique way to play a crime procedural, and we can't wait to write it. So, on behalf of both me and Pete, thank you for watching.
A patch of hair on his back that says 666. So for sure we know that Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer. Back to you, Josh.
Awesome, dude. That was fucking long. Yeah, no, it is that is about 20 minutes is about what typically I try to keep my pitches at. You want to keep them long enough so that you're not leaving crazy questions unanswered,
but also short enough to give the audience, and when I say audience now, I mean the executive who's watching or listening to the project, and all of their people, an opportunity to ask questions. And one of the big things that I really try to do when I'm going in with a pitch is save 3 or 4 killer ideas, killer moments, a twist that wasn't put into the pitch itself, so that when the questions start coming, you're able to pull those out of your ass in a way to make it look like you're really smart on the spot, even though that was something that you had in the holster all along and were planning on pulling that out.
On the one that you just showed, that is something you would send them in advance. You're not gonna sit in a room with them with that and
No, no. And as a matter of fact, again, this was created at the start of COVID. The idea had always been that we wouldn't go into the room. It would be, we basically take this 20 minutes, throw it up on a YouTube link, private link with a password, send to every executive in town, every producer in town, with a thing at the very end that just says, "Hey, call me if you're interested." And you hope that somebody watches it and finds it interesting and wants to have a conversation about it.
I love that. So, Josh, in the 1 minute that I just had to quickly do something, I want to read you a text message that I just came in this second.
Tell me.
Thomas, you are going to be editing this, and I want you to beep out the name. Okay, so you'll know. It says, "Hey, Darren, I just spoke to he told me to give you his phone number. Call him tomorrow. He's excited to talk. FYI, he likes to talk, so let him go and go. His IQ is off the charts. I didn't tell him much, but that we work together and how much I respect you. He's looking forward to talking tomorrow."
Yeah, that's awesome. Good.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Wrapping this up, Josh, looking at yours that you've done and the ones that I've done, where is your head right now into what we do? Because I think that my style is bombastic. It's, as you can tell, most of the stuff is loud and
Yeah, and I think that the style of Killer Khan is that exact same vibe. So I say we lean closer and hew closer to some of the pieces that you did, and even kind of combine them. Like I feel like we should be finding some of our cast, locking them in place, using them in a mock-up trailer. Kind of taking bits and pieces of what you've done in the past and create an element that we can, use as a
Yeah.
selling tool.
One thing I was thinking about in the con that I went to, it's such a hard thing to describe to anyone unless you've been to it. Um, I wonder, and I'm just having this idea, should we try to go to a con and film a mini pitch reel, a mini documentary where, let's say, I know there's one coming up in Vegas, but like, it would be kind of fun if you and I went to a con for a day and just brought cameras with us and filmed. And we were like, okay. And like, imagine, like, you remember what you just said in your pitch, sometimes you'll be like, Pete, what was that thing? But that's scripted. So what if we're pitching and like in the pitch in the rooms, we're in the room with executives and be like, okay, so we got this movie, it's called Killer Con. Do you guys know what a horror con? You know what? Actually, hold on, play. Hey, now we're on screen. This is a horror con. We're standing in Vegas.
Love it.
And then so we're interacting with ourselves in the room with the executives as well as there. So we're playing it where there's pauses on the screen for us to fill in.
I fucking love that, dude. And that's a little bit like, I remember Mike had something similar. Oh, we were talking about the Final Destination.
How they had the room. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that idea. Let's move in that direction. I love it.
Like, even imagine, so let's say that we go to the Vegas one and let's say that we know Kane Hodder is going to be there. So let's say that on film or on camera, we go to Kane Hodder. And in the room, we say, do you know who that is? And then Kane Hodder looks up. You better fucking know who I am. Like, so so we have timed it. So we're responding in real time to what they're seeing. But
yeah,
what I think is cool about this is that we can show the insanity of the con. We can show the fandom at the con, and we can start to really get them into that world. I think that, to me, that could be a really fun way to kind of do this.
I love it. I'm totally in. I think that's great. When is that convention in Vegas?
There are cons almost every weekend. I think that we need to do is figure out where we can go, and where we can actually have access that they'll let us come in and start filming and doing all of that. Yeah, I'll do some research, but what I do think that we should probably do is start writing out the pitch. Like, let's you and I figure out what the 10-minute pitch is in the room.
Yep.
With a video element as well. So yeah, let's say the video is 5 minutes, and then you and I are going to talk 15 minutes around the video.
Right.
But I do think that maybe on the next episode we should start locking cast in, and I think we start. Let's you and I make a list, and if anyone has any ideas, throw them in the comment section below about who.
Yeah, who do you want to be in this film?
And I think that there's the people that we all know about that we've been talking about, but there's also other characters in this. There are other people. There's there's the audience who will go to a con. There's the promoter who works the con. There's all these. So if there's any ideas that you guys have that we should be reaching out to or approaching, please leave them in the comments. Which leads me to how I want to wrap this thing up today, Josh. Which is I love how we are starting to build a community here. And last week we did another office hours. And I encourage, if anyone's in town and we're doing one of these things, go just if nothing more to see Josh get so inebriated in both times that he can barely stand up. Josh, watching him make a fool out of himself and do drunk karaoke is worth the price of a plane ticket to Los Angeles. But what's cool is that you're seeing this community come together, and they're starting to form connections and bonds, and they're starting to work on their own projects. And I love that.
Yeah.
I want to continue to do that thing where we're doing more live events. One of the ideas that I would love to do is, before the new year, do a live event, and let's call it like Art of the Kill. And you and I go to a bar or go to a place, and we are going to break down, let's say, 10 of our favorite kills. And let's say you pick the top 3 from your films, I'll pick the top 3 from my films, then we'll do 3 others of just movies that we love. And let's get a couple of effects guys there and walk us through how to do it.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
Like, it's Greg Nicotero or Tom Savini or whoever that is to be there and kind of walk us through how to do some of these things. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. That sounds great. And we need a Christmas party too, dude.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Dude, I will fuck with some eggnog.
How is your sweater collection?
Dude, I have a lot of Christmas sweaters that I can bust out. I have a lot of horror Christmas sweaters. My favorite one, though, is from The Room, and it's Tommy Wiseau, however you say his name, with a Christmas hat on, and it says, "Oh, hi, Santa," and it's great. No, but yeah, let's do an ugly Christmas party sweater thing, and
loving it.
Let's continue to try to stoke this community here. To help us make the best thing we can make. And
I love it. And hey, I'm excited about our special guest that is yet to be named.
I know. I'm excited to see if we have to re-record this for a 3rd time now.
No, dude, later.
I'm not happy about this. I'm just going to tell you right now.
All right.
I
love you, man. Have a good one.
Talk to you later.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Please give the show a follow, and if you could leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, each post helps us reach more listeners like you. Another way to support us is to join the crew at djmakeamovie.com. We'd love to hear from you. Follow and join the conversation at DJ Make a Movie on all social platforms. Let's make a movie together.
Darren and Josh Make a Movie, Season 1. Hosted by Darren Bousman and Josh Stolberg. Produced by Addison Marshall. Email the team at djmakeamovie@gmail.com. To watch on video and enjoy all the visuals you may have missed listening to the audio version of the show, subscribe to the Darren and Josh Make a Movie YouTube channel. Thank you for joining.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.
No, it's not creepy at all.
I run a house with 50 crazy bitches.
Taught them to survive.
This is real life!
You're hallucinating.
It is real.
This is okay.
That girl really needs to learn to keep her mouth shut.
A man with a shudder.
That is disgusting.
Is that a fucking piranha? They took my penis! They took my penis!
Oh, I wish I hadn't seen that.
You haven't seen anything yet.
You wanna play games, motherfucker?
Citrate comes in a little glass vial.
Hallelujah!
Darren and Josh Make a Movie.
Cut, Casper. That's a wrap.